An intelligent man should utilize good opportunities. The first opportunity is a human form of life, and the second opportunity is to take birth in a suitable family where there is cultivation of spiritual knowledge. This is rarely obtained. The greatest opportunity is to have the association of a saintly person. Devahuti was conscious that she was born as the daughter of an emperor. She was sufficiently educated and cultured, and at last she got Kardama Muni, a saintly person, the great yogi, as her husband. Still, if she did not get liberation from the entanglement of material energy, then certainly she would be cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy. Actually, the illusory material energy is cheating everyone. People do not know that they are doing what they are doing when they worship the material energy in the form of goddess Kali or Durga for material boons. They ask Mother, give me great riches, give me a good wife, give me fame, give me victory. But such devotees of goddess Maya or Durga do not know that they are being cheated by that goddess. Material achievement is actually no achievement, because as soon as one is illusioned by the material gifts, he becomes more and more entangled, and there is no question of liberation. One should be intelligent enough to know how to utilize material assets for the purpose of self-realization. This is called Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Whatever we have, we should use as service to the Supreme Person. It is advised in Bhagavad Gita, Swakarmana tam abhyarchaya. One should try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by one's assets. There are many forms of service to the Supreme Lord, and anyone can render service unto Him according to the best of his ability. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 3rd canto, 23rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Devahuti's Lamentation. So finally, Mother Devahuti's lamentation is being expressed by her as being cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Lord. Because in spite of having a great opportunity, that opportunity was, she lamented of having lost that opportunity. Opportunity for liberation is very rare, and that opportunity, the opportunity to associate with saintly persons who are liberated or who are in the path of liberation. Instead, she got more entangled in sense gratification. She only realized what she lost when Kardama Muni said that, yes, I am living now. I am living home. Till then, she was completely involved, entrapped in enjoying. Rather than finding out how I can become free from this material body, how I can become free from the attraction of the senses and sense objects. Prabhupada says that it is very rare to get a human form of life, and even rare is to get the association of saintly persons. So every little time that we have left in our life, every day our clock is ticking towards death. Everybody's. And once time moves forward, you won't get that back again. So we should be able to utilize every bit of our time in the best possible way to accumulate the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, to please Guru and Krishna, by following their instructions. By following their instructions of rejecting what they have told to reject and to accept what they have guided the disciple to accept. By following the instructions of the spiritual master to accept and reject, we get transcendental intelligence. We are acting in transcendental intelligence because the spiritual master's instruction of accepting and rejecting is based on accepting what pleases the Lord and rejecting based on what displeases the Lord. So, the mind is the one that accepts and rejects. If the mind is aligned with the transcendental intelligence from the spiritual master, then that is a path of liberation. If the mind is aligned with the desire for enjoying this body, this mind, the egos in this body, social egos in this body, if we are desiring that, then that is a path of bondage. And this can only be when one is entangled in that, it's very difficult for one to come out of it. As it is said here, material achievement is actually no achievement, because as soon as one is illusioned by material gifts, he becomes more and more entangled and there is no question of liberation. Sense gratification will entangle one more and more. That is how this yantra is. Material energy attracts the living entity towards some sense gratification, and then you create a desire for it again. Once you create a desire for it, desire means what? Desire means I want it, I need it, I have to get it. This is desire. Take anything. I want it, I need it, I have to get it. This is desire. When you emotionally tell these things 100 times, then the desire becomes an emotion, very powerful emotion in your mind. But before desiring something, what happens? Even before desiring something, something else is required. You have to believe that there is pleasure in it. Suppose you are desiring A. You already have to have a pleasure belief that A brings me pleasure, or A brings me benefit. And what is the three kinds of benefit we are looking for? All living entities, Satchit Ananda, which is manifest in this material world as desire for, or it is manifest as pleasure of power, pleasure of knowledge or intelligence, pleasure of love, pleasure of sensual enjoyment. These are four, under these four classification, everything. So, this is what the living entity has assigned. We conditioned in this body we have perception of things. We see the floor, we see the table, we see the camera, we see men, we see women, we see animals, we see trees, beautiful scenery, we see all those things, right? These are perceptions that we take into our mind. Everything is initially a simple perception, without any feeling or emotion. Factual perception. Just like I see this floor, I don't associate pleasure with that floor. Correct? But I see a nice eatable sweet. Immediately as I see, not only I see the matter of that sweet, but I also see pleasure in it. Why? Because with the floor I have not associated pleasure intellectually. Because intellectually you analyze what pleasure this floor can give. So everything begins with our association with an idea of sense gratification. That is intelligence. It starts with intelligence. Then you say, okay, this is, then Rasgulla you know intellectually, if I put in my mouth, I have some flat pleasure in it. Objectively I know it is pleasurable sensation. Sweet is a pleasurable sensation. Then you equate and create a belief. It's an intellectual contemplation. Intellectually you develop, you contemplate that Rasgulla means pleasurable. Rasgulla means pleasurable. And why when you see a floor, when you see an aluminum panel, why you don't see that? Because you intellectually also know what pleasure is there in that. Of course, if somebody is attached to interiors and all that, there also it happens. Oh, such nice interiors. Associated pleasure of seeing and all those things. Just giving the example, just understand how pleasure beliefs are created in our minds. Everybody's pleasure beliefs are all different. What pleasure belief you have is different, you have is different. Maybe there will be many common things. But the fine shades are all different because each of us have contemplated intellectually in different manners. So we have pasted pleasure on different things. So as soon as we see things, in a conditioned manner, we see things as pleasurable, we see things as also pain. Suppose in a school, the teacher is always punishing you. As soon as you see the teacher, you will feel pain. You see some other, you're a child, somebody, as soon as he sees, he gives you chocolate. So as soon as you see that person, you feel pleasure. You associate pain, pleasure. So in our box, in our head, we have already created, there's a pleasure box, there's a pain box. So we have pasted and put so many things of our perceptions of object, people, situations as painful, as pleasurable, we have put it in our box. And how it has happened? It started with intellectual belief. Belief means intellectually you understand this is truth. This is a fact. That is called intellectual belief. Belief is connected to, whether it is true or not is a different matter. Belief need not be true, but you think it is true. Whether it is true or not, it is true. We have assigned truth value, that this will give me pleasure. It's a truth statement that this will give me pleasure. So then we have created all these things. We have pleasure box, we have pain boxes, and we have neutral box also. When you see the floor, no, nothing. Most of the time, everything you see, you are not seeing pleasure and pain, pleasure and pain. Most of the time, you are walking normally. No pleasure, no pain. You are just seeing things normally. But suddenly you see things which you have categorized as pleasure, pleasure. Pain, pain. Perception. So, plain perception is neither pleasurable or painful. We have added pleasure to it because ultimately everything is matter. Right? So, we have added pleasure to it. So, when so many pleasure, once we create pleasure belief, then we create desire for that object. Desire for that object. And what did I say? Desire means I want it, I need it, I need to get it. It's a power statement. Desire is a power statement. Desire is a satrasa. I need it, I want it, I have to get it. So you take a pleasure object, which you already intellectually you have created a pleasure belief, go on, telling yourself, I want it, I need it, I want it, I need it, then desire will generate it in the mind. Desire is an emotion. We have all generated. Without generating, it will not come from somewhere. Either this life, past life, somewhere we have generated these things. These are all mental concoctions. The entire material existence, pleasure, pain, it's all mental concoction. But how it happens? Then once we create a desire for something, then next we create the emotions of hope. Will I get it or not? Can I get it or not? I hope to get it, I hope to get it. The moment you create hope, there is a twin brother of hope who is called fear. Maybe I won't get it. Maybe I won't get it. So when these two fellows fight, or two fellows goes on talking, Mr. Hope and Mr. Fear, they keep exchanging notes. Next one, third fellow is born. He is Mr. Anxiety. Everything started with desire, then is anxiety. I'll get it or not get it. Anxiety. So when things are in such a situation, when you are in anxiety, whether you will get it or not, then you have to do some activity for getting it. So what you do? You create a search engine in your head. You search, can I get, where can I get, where can I get, and you set up an automatic system. As anything you find in my pleasure box, please alert me. That is one. Another thing is actively let me search for some pleasure. Let me search for that object of pleasure. So you search. And then again when you start searching, already you have got hope and fear. Again you next cycle of hope and fear starts. What is it? Whether I'll find, my search will be successful or not, whether I'll find it or not find. Again it multiplies. Let us say you find it. What you're searching you find. You get sat pleasure. Yes, I found it. But because continuously you have been hoping for it more and more, just finding itself gives you pleasure. You have not got the sense object or anything, just finding. Located. That's all. Located. That's all. You not come into your hands. Located. Find. That is why we are all conditioned to always conditionally look at opposite sex. Conditioned. Because this is an algorithm that we have set in our mind. Search. And then you find. And then you get pleasure of finding itself. That the brain is fed with that chemical of success of finding. So that itself becomes an habit. Constantly, wherever opportunity, see opposite sex, see opposite sex. This is a pleasure, a drop of pleasure. And that pleasure is amplified because you have hoped for it, and all this. If you don't get it continuously, you hope and pain increases. Not getting what you hope is a pain. The pain goes on increasing. So hope also multiplies, pain also multiplies together. These are all tricks that the Maya is playing in our mind. Nothing to do with the sense object. Sense object is simply sitting there somewhere. But all this are going in your head. What is that? Creation of pleasure belief. Creation of desire, emotion of desire. Creation of hope. Creation of fear. Creation of then activity of search. That's also happening in your mind. Search activity. Then find or not find. When you find, then you get a pleasure, sat pleasure, success pleasure. If you don't find, then your pain goes on increasing. That means more and more delay in finding, more and more delay in finding, and finally you find. What happens? If you search and you find immediately, then you get little pleasure. If you search and search and search and search and search and search, did not find, finally found, so much pleasure you will get. Amplified pleasure. Now what you are doing immediately, that amplified pleasure you are pasting it on the A, object A, pleasure object. Oh, A has given me so much pleasure. Searching A and getting A, given me so much pleasure. You don't think all these things. Ultimately, you paste experience. You have not even got the thing, but you amplified it. And then next is what? Search, find. And then, because the sense object you have not got, you only found. Next is what? Chase. External activity begins to chase the sense object. That chasing the sense object is not what we normally call as effort, chesta for sense gratification. You chase after that. This is also happening in the mind largely. Some activity is happening to get the object. Because in your mind, this is pleasure. You are associated with pleasure. And then you chase. Again, same thing happens. When you chase, what happens? Again, the third cycle of hope and fear starts. Hope I will capture. Hope I will get her. Hope I will get him. Hope I will get this. Hope I will get wealth. The moment you create hope, there's a twin brother. What is that? Fear that I may not get. So these things are going on. Then these two together combinedly work together and create anxiety. And anxiety means pleasure amplification. Again, amplified pleasure. You chase and get it very easily, then amplification is less. You chase and delay. Finally, the Maya is teasing you. You don't give up. You go behind it. Finally, it gives you. Then you got amplified chase pleasure, chase capture pleasure. You get capture pleasure, lauding pleasure, capture pleasure you get. Of course, all these are sat pleasure. Then you capture the pleasure, you, whatever pleasure is an experience, immediately you paste it on the object A. So what is happening to your pleasure belief? Your pleasure belief is getting amplified. Earlier it was simply intellectual belief. What actually is there only you knew. You had not experienced before. You take on rasgulla, put it on your tongue. Okay, it is sweet. Okay. This is called plain pleasure belief or flat pleasure belief. Now each of this cycle, it goes on amplifying. In other words, your pleasure belief is, so much pleasure is there in it. You create that. This is called illusion. Illusion expands. As far as experience is concerned, you are feeling like that. You don't know intellectually all these things. As soon as you see now A, all that memory of amplification will come up. And then finally, next is what I captured. After capturing, originally the pleasure belief started with your intellectual belief that sense and sense object meet together, there is some pleasure. Now after capture is what? Is you want to squeeze out pleasure from sense object. That is called pleasure extraction. Chase, capture, next is pleasure extraction. Pleasure extraction leads to whatever flat pleasure there in it, it will be there. Right? But in your mind, what is there? So much amplified pleasure. So that flat pleasure is amplified like all illusion. What really exists is little flat pleasure. So that is why it is said that once you get into the cycle of sense gratification, the sense object, you become a servant of the sense object, because sense object's pleasure belief is highly amplified and we become victims. There is no peace of mind if you don't get the pleasure object. So those who know this cycle, where do they stop? Okay, I also know the truth. Flat pleasure is a truth. That is matra spashyastu kaunteya. If I am in winter, if I get a good warm heating, there is a pleasure sensation for the skin. Or in summer, if I get a air condition, there is a pleasure sensation. It's a flat pleasure sensation. But inside the mind, this objective flat pleasure is amplified by starting with desire. So devotees, they know how they should learn how to dovetail desire, hope, fear, anxiety, chasing, all these things, searching, chasing, everything in service of the Lord. Today morning Mangalarti quote. What was the Mangalarti quote? Prabhupada is talking about anxiety. Isn't it? That's why I am explaining all this. Behind anxiety, what is there? Behind anxiety, there is hope and fear. Behind hope and fear, what is there? Desire is there. So we should desire to please Krishna. Then we will get hope to please Krishna and fear that I may not succeed in pleasing Krishna. Both will drive us. And then all the cycle we can engage in Krishna's service. But that's a first work in a regulated manner as asked to do devotion service. Prematurely to employ this cycle in devotion service, it would prematurely, if you try to create anxiety in service of Krishna, it may actually be anxiety for yourself. So first, that is the reason why we should understand this cycle and become free from being servant of sense objects. See the reality, whatever is there is there. But I don't want the mind to amplify it. I don't want this hope and anxiety and all these kind of things for sense objects. Yadricha, labha, santushta, whatever comes of its own accord is as enough, even for the maintenance of the body and the mind. Searching, chasing for money, chasing for wealth, all this, and getting the wealth, becoming rich, these are all mundane pleasures. So that is what it is said here, that if you see, material achievement or sense gratification is actually no achievement. If you capture a sense object, it is not a big achievement, because by capturing, you have planted in your head an amplified value of that object A. You have become little more servant of that object A. Because as soon as one is illusioned by material gifts, he becomes more and more entangled, and there is no question of liberation. Because pleasure belief is amplified. You become bonded to that sense object. You become attached to that sense object. I cannot live without that. Like this it comes. We get addicted to sense objects. We get obsessed with sense objects. These are all emotional problems. Obsession, addiction. Addiction means if it is not there, I cannot live without it. I am incomplete without it. Immediately fear of losing comes. I cannot stop this habit. I cannot lose this person. All these kind of things, we get addicted. And we cannot give up that addiction, because immediately in our heart there is a fear of pain. To avoid that pain, we maintain the attachment. To avoid that pain. And all these things, as we do this repeatedly, desire, search, chase, indulge, each of those things are finally creating a very strong habit in our mind. A set of behavior towards the sense object. Impulsively we act towards that sense object. Because mind is something that you do, it trains itself. It immediately learns this, how to respond. And then you read Prabhupada's book, you say, no, this is Maya, you should not be attached to. Then you see, you cannot give up. Why? Because the subtle body is completely habituated. There's a big force there. If you want to follow what Prabhupada said, don't be attached. You're not able to follow. Why are you not able to follow? Because deep inside our heart, that emotion is there, that fear is there, that if I give up this, I'll miss something. That pain of losing is there. That itself is a big illusion. But if you tolerate, as Krishna's instruction is to tolerate the pain in the heart. You tolerate, okay, this gone means gone, let it go. This sense gratification I have, let it go. I will suffer the pain. You have to say, I will suffer the what pain? It's all emotional pain. Attachment, detachment is emotional pain. I'm not talking about outside pain. It's emotional pain. Okay, let it go. I'll suffer that pain. No, it will be very painful, very painful, very painful. That means you are already associating with the amplified value of that pain, that sense object. The moment you say, it's all right, I'll tolerate. The tolerating is the biggest quality required to give up sense gratification. Tolerating is a trick where the amplified values are de-amplified. Desire is a trick which will further amplify. But whatever you have amplified in the past, once that force comes for sense gratification, you tolerate. Tell yourself, yes, I'll tolerate the pain of not indulging. I'll tolerate the pain of not indulging. That step we don't take, that is a problem. Therefore we get addicted. You're afraid to. I'll face it. What is that pain now? I'll tolerate the pain. Immediately what you thought that pain is, it will come down. All the amplified thing will come down, because you are seeing the pain as not your pain. You are seeing the pain as an emotion, which I have told that pain I will deal with it. I'll live with it, even if it required. But I will not indulge. It's only a courageous small step it is, because really there is no thief there. It's all illusion there. All the real force of that pain is completely mind created pain. Artificial attachment. Everything we have done by pasting. So once we look at that pain in our heart, and then we say, okay, let it be there. Rather than sense gratification, I will tolerate this pain. Once you say that, you will see it become deflated. And then it's a question of simple will. Of course, reality is flat pleasure is there. Flat pleasure is very easy to give up. You can't give up sense gratification because of amplification. Flat pleasures are very easy to give up. Suppose you started smoking once, twice, thrice, you started smoking. At that time it is very easy to give up. You take a decision, you give up. No, I won't smoke anymore. Suppose you have smoked for 10 years. Then it is all completely so complicated that has become amplified. So, when you want to give up after 10 years, there is a very deep pain in the heart. And you don't want to face that pain, therefore you continue. That's called addiction. But if you face the pain, something else happens. It becomes completely, it reduces to flat pleasure. And then it's a question of decision. Yes, intellectually I know it is not good. It is not pleasure. It creates pain. Even on the cigarette pack they write, it's injurious to health. That is an intellectual statement. See, in spite of that, writing a statement like that in all packets, even the government insists at what size he should write and all that. Because cigarette companies write in a small way. So they even put regulation. It should be this size, this font and everything. So even an intelligent man will still smoke. Why? Because it started with the intellectual belief that this gives me pleasure. Somebody told him, or somebody, and then of course in reality there is a flat component also. It numbs some cells in the brain, creates it stops, what do you call it? It numbs. Numbs means it stops functioning. your anxiety stops there. Once that chemical goes away, again that anxiety will come. So there is a relief you get. That's a flat pleasure. But on that, we build up and build up and build up. So this entanglement, trap, moha, kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, all these things goes on expanding. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. How can one overcome the pain of losing?
How can one overcome the pain of losing?
Yeah.
Very simple. First is you have to identify that the pain of losing is what is affecting me more than the pleasure of having. Step number one. There's a pleasure of having something. Okay, I don't want it. To say it easy, pleasure. Pain is a bigger factor in the heart. So first, that is to observe the pain of losing in your mind's eye. You observe that pain of. Many people don't know this pain. They simply addicted. I do not know. I cannot give up. I cannot give up this way. Step number one is to start observing this pain. Because once you observe something, as I told you earlier, once you observe something, what you observe, our general tendency is, it is not me. Seer and seen. Seen is always you are thinking it is something else. So automatically you go on repeatedly observe that pain is my pain goes on decreasing. Because we are conditioned like that. Anything that we see is always outside us. It's not me. The biggest pain is it is my pain. Just like if you have a pain, very less I feel. Even if we sit and talk, very net, but your pain only you can feel because you feel that it is my pain. But even if it tells me his pain, still always for me I will never feel the same way because I will feel that it is his pain, not my pain. So the reality is that mind is also outside us. The fact also is this mind and body is not me. So I am observing that is it's not me. So once you observe that pain, the you element, my pain, I am that pain, that punctures, the air goes out of it. Then what is left is pain of flat pleasure, losing flat pleasure. That is very easy. Go back, based on intellectual thing, you can give up. What are the bad effects of it? All those things, philosophical points, you can remove it. So simply without seeing that pain and dealing with that pain as not my pain, suppose I talk to that pain. Okay, I know your pain. This is all your simply amplified pleasure. You sit quiet, now you will become peaceful now. Now I observed you, magic I have created, you will suffer less. Suddenly that pain will come down. What is happening in all these things? That is why when you talk to your mind, You are detaching from your mind. My mind, I and mine, my pain, my emotion, all these things will subconsciously it will come out. You don't need to intellectually understand all these things. You asked a question, I am simply telling, just observe that. Keep repeatedly observing it, you will see, observe that pain, you will see that pain is going on decreasing. Because if you have to observe the pain, you have to stand away from the pain. It will decrease. If you don't do that, you philosophize as much as you want. There is no pleasure in this sense object. There is no pleasure. This is illusion. All that you talk, you are not dealing with your pain. You are dealing with, some truth, which is there is no. But here in your heart, you have created a pain. You have created an attachment. You have to deal with that. Then only, addictions can be removed only by observing that pain of withdrawing that addiction. Observe that. Courageously deal with it. I will deal with it. It will not last because it is created by me. It will not last. Then it becomes easier. Accept its existence at that time as a emotion in your mind. You created that emotion. As an emotion, you accept that. Once you accept that, then you're dealing with it. Oh, I have to remove this. That means you're dealing with somebody. Somebody is disturbing you. First you have to see him. And then you have to beat him up. If you cannot see him, how can you beat him up? How can you kill him? You want to kill a person, first you have to see him and then you kill him now. So you don't even see him, you will go on thriving. In your mind you will go on imagining, I want to kill him, I want to kill him, I want to kill him. So you see him first. So this habit, if you develop, any bad habit that you have, and you want to give up, and there is a pain in giving up, watch that pain. Even if you are failing and indulging, you watch that and indulge. You will see slowly, it will come down. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question from Tuesday's class, Prabhu. That you had spoken of the association with vibration of a person. There was something on associating with saintly people, and then you spoke about associating with Prabhupada also.
Association?
Association with saintly people, and then you spoke about associating with Srila Prabhupada. So when you explained about Srila Prabhupada, associating with Srila Prabhupada, you told how we have to see his vibration of his ego, of his emotions, how he loved Krishna and how he dedicated his life, did all those things for Krishna and all that. So by seeing that, we associate with Prabhupada, because we cannot grossly associate with him right now. Like, say, if I want to associate with a devotee, I can always
even if you grossly associate, you're associating with those things only. Otherwise, even a mosquito sitting on Prabhupada is associating. When Prabhupada was on this planet, a mosquito is sitting on him. Mosquito and a devotee, a disciple is sitting before Prabhupada. What is the difference in the mosquito's association and Prabhupada, the disciple's association? The disciple is seeing Prabhupada's desires, aspirations, his subtle body, his emotions, his feelings, he is seeing all those things. So even when he is physically present, the real association is with the inner vibrations of Prabhupada. Now continue.
Now let's say I want to associate with the holy name in this way. So I want to associate with the Nama Prabhu, the holy name.
Correct.
How do I associate? Do I associate? Now what do I do? You just chant and hear. You had said that just chant and attentively hear. So where does these emotion, all these things that you just explained, how do they apply in that case while chanting?
You have to know the mind of the holy name.
Yes, now...
see, the mind of the holy name is revealed in the scriptures.
No, like when we chant, we just chant and hear. We just do not think of all these things, or we do not think of any of these things. Now, while chanting, or before pre-japa, post-japa, we may think of these things. But now, how do we associate with the holy name in this manner? As you said, as a person, I can associate with that person. I will be looking at that person's emotions. I'll be looking at that person's character. Say, I want to associate with you. Then I know you. I know all what you did, and so on and all that. Now, the holy name is a sound for us. It's just a shabda. Now, I want to associate with the holy name in this way, as I would associate with a person. Say, I want to associate with you. The same way I want to associate in the holy name as a person. In applying all these things.
Right. Suppose, see, this is a general trap with, like Prabhupada says, why are you attached to form? God has manifest before us as sound. The only difference is sound and form. The mind behind the form, the soul behind the form, the person behind the form is the same behind the sound. The mind behind that is Krishna's mind only behind that sound. Behind means accompanying, inseparably accompanying. To know a person's feeling, you don't have to see his eyes, nose, nothing, no? Can you visualize somebody's feeling while talking over the phone? You have never seen that person. Can you develop a relationship with that person's mind? Only your hearing is sound. Your hearing is sound. You don't know how he looks at all. Can you develop a relationship with his mind? Can. Same thing. Shabda is there. What is the holy name? What is the holy name's mind? Is an avatara. Nama Prabhu is an avatara. Avatara has a purpose, has a desire. Immediately you can feel what is the urge of avatara. Is to liberate us, give us association and liberate us. Oh, he's here, he's anxious to receive my seva and give me an opportunity to liberate me. So you get his feeling. What is his feeling? Somebody who is very merciful is before me. Somebody is showing personal mercy towards me. So you don't get feeling, you will get feeling. What feeling you will get? Gratitude. And who it is? This is God. Oh God, God is before me. Respect. You don't need to see a face, you don't need to see a body to feel respect for somebody, to feel gratitude for somebody, to relate with the vibration of the holy name. So holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is simply the body of the avatara. The mind of the avatara is inseparable from the body of the avatara. The identity of the avatara, Krishna, Nama, Nami, non-different. They are accompanying, they are inseparable, they are one, but we are able to see only the sound. As we advance in our chanting, our vibration also develop, relationship will develop with the holy name. Very realistically. Got it?
Hare Krishna.
You have to think more on that from the points that I have told.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
You explained that if we prematurely try to dovetail our desire and this whole cycle, whether hope, desire, whatever in this cycle.
Correct.
So just like we have desire to learn something, so just like I have desire to learn harmonium, so I am putting my effort. But Yadraja Labha Santusto, you told that whatever comes, so we have to satisfy. So I don't have art of harmonium playing, but I am putting my effort. So is this dovetailing or what? Means how can I connect this?
No, we can dovetail it. Dovetailing and all these things should be guided. Otherwise, your desire, you think you are desiring for Krishna, but you will be desiring for yourself. You will be thinking you are searching for Krishna, but you will be searching for yourself. You will be thinking you are chasing for Krishna, but actually you will be chasing for yourself. You will be thinking that I am pleasing Krishna, but actually you are pleasing yourself. Now, it's not black and white. It could be your desire is 20% for Krishna, 80% for you. Like that, percentage. So therefore, we need to, case to case, when the devotees come and say, let's say somebody comes and say, Prabhu, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada said, I want to build a skyscraper in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Skyscraper temple for Lord Krishna in the middle of the ocean, he will say. I want to dovetail my desire. Now I want to chase it. I want to go behind it. How to do it? All those things. So this is nothing but personal ambition, ego, all these things. Otherwise, there is no limit. You can go on, that's the reason I said, in a very regulated way, we should dovetail this cycle. We cannot take this cycle and go wild. If you go wild, then anarthas will. We are just our false ego is doing all these things. So before we desire, we have to develop dasatva. We have to understand my identity as a servant of Krishna. Moment a servant of Krishna comes, then you know Krishna's indication, Krishna's direction. You don't create from your own all these things. Then you get it confirmed. Even if you get some desire, you get it confirmed from the other Vaishnavas. All these things, this step by step only you do all these things. In a small way everywhere, yes, let's say you want to desire to collect. Don't tell it. Desire and you collect. But observe yourself how much you are getting kick out of it. That doesn't mean you should not do it. Our devotion service is contaminated. From mixed devotion service, only pure devotion service happens. But mixed devotion service has to be done in a regulated way under proper direction. That is important. When you have proper direction, because there is a mixed devotion service, means there is a fruit for you and a fruit for Krishna. Right? If the fruit for you, it has to be measured. If the fruit for Krishna is so much that it will crush slowly, these things don't have any impact on you. Two things can happen. The fruit for you can create pride in you, create success, all those, and it can go and choke your bhakti. Choke your bhakti. So that we need to intelligently do. That is what regulated devotion service. Always discuss with the Vaishnavas, with the authorities, take their direction. So this step one is for self-purification. By following in a regulated way, dovetailing in a regulated way, people foolishly don't understand. They understand we should dovetail and then they go loose completely. And then lose their bhakti. Because actually they are fanning their false ego. So slowly it should be burnt. All these false ego should be burnt. And then when we become pure, then there will be pure. We ourselves will be able to be self-directed in the matter of dovetailing desires. In the beginning, we cannot be self-directed. We need somebody else's help. What to chase, what to capture, all those things. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.